All right, hello there. Welcome to Graybeard Biker. This is our first episode, and I was planning on starting by telling you the whole story, but I think I will start with a rant. But I guess the rant needs some sort of premise, doesn't it? This is my bike. This bike's name is Alchemy, which is appropriate because of what I've decided to do with it. I am literally taking half of the chrome that is on this bike and turning it into copper so that we will have a two-tone bike, chrome and copper. I work for a company that our brand is steampunk, so copper seemed to make sense with what I was doing. And I had this idea of doing this, and so I thought, okay, how are we going to do this? Are we going to do copper plating, which makes sense? Well, I looked up copper plating, and copper plating has a tendency to tarnish very quickly, and you have to do this clear coat on it fairly quickly, or it ends up not looking good, evidently, through my research. So then the other thing I looked at is powder coating. Can you powder coat a metallic color? Yes, you can. So I started looking at all of the different ways that you could get certain colors in powder coat. And I ended up saying, yes, you could do copper powder coating. So I looked at all these different things, and there's so many different types of copper with copper powder coating. And so I'm looking, and there's this rose copper and copper 1 and copper 2 and trans copper and all these different, and they're all different colors. So I had to make sure, I said, okay, I want it to look like copper, like a shiny penny, you know, the metal copper. That's what I wanted it to look like. So I decided, okay, well, I will contact the manufacturer of said powder and say, hey, I want it to look like copper chrome, shiny, bright penny. Showed them what a penny looks like. This is what I want it to look like. And they said, well, we can do an analysis of the different paints that we have and tell you what the best one is, blah, blah, blah. So, okay, fine. Better do that. Make sure we're doing the right thing before we start the process with all of these different parts. So they send it back, and they give me a whole bunch of swatches of different types of copper, which I already had. So it had nothing to do with them actually finding out the color that I wanted. It was them saying, do I have any colors that are close? I already knew they had colors that were close because I could shop a website. So complete and total waste of money. Cost me $115 to do that test. Complete and total waste of money. So then I was like, okay, this is the swatch that is closest to what I want. I look on the internet, and that one type of color comes in that one powder has been done multiple times, and one of the times that it's done on chrome, right, it looks correct. So I'm like, good, this is the one that we'll use. So I go trying to find a powder coater, and I find a guy, and I go to him, and I say, hey, I want this powder coated. I have the powder already because I bought some from the place that I went to. So I have the powder already. I want this to look like this. Can you do it? And he was like, yeah, give me a couple pieces and I'll try it. Okay, fine. Gave him a couple pieces. So then he came out with this, and he wasn't happy with it. So he stripped it down, and he did it again. And he came up with this, which is not bad, but it is extremely uneven. So I gave him another part to try as well. And I said, well, you know, try these. I gave him 2 parts. So he tried them, sent me what it looks like, said he wasn't happy with it, stripped it down, tried it again. Then he finally just came back to me and says, you know what, I don't think that I can do this. Very respectable. This is outside of my skill. This is outside of my ability to do this type of powder because of reason 1, reason 2, whatever it is. Respectable. He sent me to go to these 2 other people that he thought could do a better job. Well, I went to one of the people that he recommended, and what they did was this. This is not copper. This is brown. This is, shit brown is what this is. This does not look good at all. It is not copper at all. This is what I got. Obviously, not hiring that guy for the rest of the bike, which is why we do these training pieces, right? So then I was like, okay, well, I need to find someone else. So I went on a hunt to find somebody else that's local to the Atlanta area that could handle powder coating and do small jobs, because a motorcycle is not, there's these people that do these big, industrial things. This is a small job to them. So wanted to find somebody that could do that. Uh, and while I'm waiting on next guy, I went ahead and told the wheel manufacturer, which is HD Wheels out of California, or ordered my wheel from them. I said I want it to be this color. And so they said, okay, it'll be 4 to 5 weeks or so turnaround to make this 120 spoke wheel, because they actually make the wheel there. And I said, fine, good. I'll find a powder coater in that time. I'll get everything powder coated. And then by the time the wheel comes back, I will be able to start putting everything on the bike. Yeah, jump through hoops with powder coater number 1 for like 3-4 weeks, right? So it's almost already done. I go and get his piece week 3, 3.5. He sends me to person number 2 in week 4. This is what I get 2 weeks after I'd given it to him. It's just a sample, right? This is a riser for the new 21-inch wheel that I'm getting in the front. There's 2 of these, very small pieces. This is what they come back with. So the wheel then comes in UPS. And I'm like, oh, great, my wheel's here. I look at it, it looks like this. That is orange. That is not copper. That does not look like a penny. It's orange. And on top of that, it's 2 different colors. The rim is orange, and the hub, I would say, is copper. It's not shiny, but that's okay. It's still copper. The rim, however, is orange. Almost Harley Davidson orange. Not okay. So now I have to send the wheel back all the way to California from Atlanta. That's the other side of the country, in order to get it redone to be the correct color, because he didn't send me a picture when he was done to say, hey, this is what it looks like, make sure it's okay before he ships it. In the interim, I take my next small piece. I didn't take big pieces because they're expensive. I took less expensive pieces. And so I took a kickstand to another powder coater that's here local to town. I picked it up today. This is what he did. This is not copper either. This is red. This is a rust kind of glossy type of red. It's copper-ish. It does not look like a copper penny. This does not look like copper chrome. This is not what I want. So I'm getting frustrated, right? So I've gone to powder coat guy number 1, told me he couldn't do it. Fine. Went to powder coat guy number 2, got this horrible brown thing. Then I got my wheel back from California. Now he powder coats it as part of the process. It's orange. Then I get powder coater number 4, and I get this. Not happy at all. My bike is still not done. It's been sitting here since St. Pete's Bike Fest. That's when I did this. That's when I just had this idea. It's been sitting here since then. It's now spring. So I finally went to a guy that specializes in wheels for cars. I'm talking like Fast and the Furious, kind of people that soup up their cars, hot rods, that sort of thing. And so he gave me confidence. He was like, yes, I do candy colors all the time. That's another problem with copper as a metal, is it's what they call a candy color. It's a transparent powder coat process, which is evidently pretty difficult. So I went to him, and he finally came up with one that looks like copper. Mind you, all of these pieces are the same paint. The orange, same paint. Because I literally told them all. Well, the one in California, I told him what to use. These guys, literally the same box, because I bought it and I took it to each one of them. Skill makes a difference, doesn't it? But finally, I found a guy that can give me copper that looks like copper. So now, 2 seasons later, I'm finally getting around to doing this project. This bike has been apart since after St. Pete's Bike Fest, which, as most of you will know, is in the fall. I've gone from fall to winter, and now it's spring. It is now riding season again, rally season again. Daytona was 2 weeks ago. Daytona Bike Fest, missed it, couldn't go because my bike's in pieces. Now, you have to understand why this is such a headache for me. I had decided, I'm obsessed with efficiency, okay? So I decided that I was going to have a friend of mine who actually works for Triumph work with me. He's a buddy of mine from high school. We were going to go tackle this together so that we could do it really quickly. And one of the issues that you have with working on motorcycle and getting things powder coated is you have to take them off to get them powder coated. So you take them off, they're gone to a powder coat for 2 weeks. Didn't want to do that. Didn't want the bike to be, without its, derby cover, without its cam, without whatever for 2 weeks with it, sitting open. So I decided what I was going to do is I would buy new pieces that were chrome or pieces that were used off of eBay and whatnot. Get those pieces powder coated, and then when all of them were done, I would bring them all here, spend a weekend swapping all the pieces out, taking the pieces that were on my bike off, and then selling them to people on eBay. I even decided what I would do is if somebody else wanted to do the same sort of project, since I now have all of these pieces, I would get them powder coated the color that they want. And I'll do this if you're watching this and it hasn't been sold already. If you want all of these disparate pieces powder coated your color without you having the headache that I just had to go through, I will get it done for you and then ship it to you. You have used parts already taken off, and you can swap them out one-on-one just like I had planned to do. But this bike has been sitting here half done because I had some pieces that I didn't want to rebuy, right? The sissy bar, the luggage rack, didn't want to redo those. The tail light that's on here, that was supposed to be a super easy process. So some pieces I had taken off enough to where it can now not be driven until I put all of that back on. And I keep not putting it back together because I'm like, oh, it'll just be another week. It'll just be another week. It is now like 5 months that this has been apart. 5 months. Let's see. October, November, December, January, February, March. 5 months. We're in March now. So it's been 5 months that I've had this project like this. Not happy. It's supposed to be easy. But for those of you that want to watch us walk through this, we're going to do it I will videotape the whole thing so that you can kind of see the different pieces that we're doing, and maybe it'll help you if you want to do this to your bike, know how to take off certain pieces. I spent a lot of time on YouTube kind of researching all of this to begin with, and I thought it'd be good to have it all in one place. I am not a motorcycle mechanic. So I, am not doing it on 100 different types of bikes. This is a Harley Davidson Road King. That is 2015. That's the bike that it's being done on. Basically, any touring bike is going to be about the same thing as long as it's in the same, year frame. But if you have that bike and you want to walk with me through this process, you're more than welcome to do that. I'll be coming on here periodically to do just that. Thanks.